is the area where the staff, those 700 people, would have been working in the command post, the emergency hospital, prison, and so on. And today, this wing is no longer a staff wing, but the area for those 2,000 people who will still be sheltered in the Zannenberg bunker.
Bagian timur dikuasai villa, apartemen, dan pepohonan rindang. Sedangkan sebelah barat ada padang rumput dengan sapi-sapi gemuk berkeliaran. Sonnenberg, nama kawasan itu. Karena indahnya, ia menjadi tempat idaman tetirah warga setempat. Namun siapa sangka di balik keindahan kawasan perbukitan Sonnenberg tersimpan sejarah kelabu. Adalah Sonnenberg Zivilschutzanlage, atau bisa juga disebut bunker Sonnenberg, yang membuat kawasan ini bertolak belakang dengan keindahannya. Bunker Sonnenberg melayangkan ingatan ke DDR, Jerman Timur atau Uni Soviet dengan ancaman rudal nuklirnya, dan bunker Sonnenberg menjawab kekhawatiran itu. Setelah memasuki jalan berliku yang dipayungi pepohonan rimbun, maka sampailah kita di pintu gerbang masa lalu Swiss. Masa persiapan penyelamatan dari ancaman bom nuklir. Begitu memasuki bunker ini, kita akan dibawa ke lorong beratap lengkung yang dindingnya beton dihiasi tulisan kuning. Tulisan itu menunjukkan tanda angka 20.000 jumlah orang yang bisa ditampung di bunker ini. Lalu ada drum-drum abu yang berfungsi sebagai filter, menyaring udara agar bebas dari kontaminasi radioaktif. Ada juga rumah sakit darurat, sekaligus ruang operasinya. Dan tentu saja bangsal kamar tidur tanpa kasur, serta fasilitas MCK. Ada juga penjara jika ada pengungsi yang melanggar aturan. Kemudian ada pula ruang komunikasi dengan dunia luar yang tentu saja dilengkapi dengan telepon jadul.
The key idea is that the bunker for those 20,000 people basically consisted in two motorway tunnels. This model here shows two long tubes. These are the two Zannenberg tunnels. You might have heard of the tunnels. They're part of the A2 motorway that goes from the north of Switzerland to the south. And according to that shelters for all policy from '63, Lucerne was short by around 30,000 shelter places. Which is why a politician came up with the idea that they could design those two tunnels, which were about to be built anyways, in such a way so that they could take a secondary bunker function during the event of an emergency. So when those tunnels were inaugurated in '76, it was on the one hand the inauguration of an ordinary motorway tunnel, and on the other hand, the inauguration of a potential shelter for 20,000 people. And this entrance here that we've just taken is not the entrance that the 20,000 people would have taken. The 20,000 would have gathered in front of the portals, where today just traffic goes in and out. And at the four gates, those 20,000 people would have been transferred into the two tunnels, where they would then have stayed. The tunnels have a length of 1.5 kilometers. And on this tour today, you will get a clear idea of the whole infrastructure, such as beds and toilet areas that they would have set up in the tunnels to provide some sort of living area to those 20,000 people in the tunnels. And this entrance here will take us into this shoebox. The shoebox in technical terms is the cavern. And the cavern is situated halfway into the two tunnels, built around the two motorway tubes, and would have served as the logistical and technical command unit of the shelter. Basically the brain, where a workforce of around 700 people would have been working on 7 different levels, with facilities such as the emergency hospital. There was a hospital arranged over 3 levels for medical care, a kitchen, a laundry, the headquarters for civil protection where they have their offices, and even a security station with prison cells. So if there had been troublemakers in the tunnels, they would have taken out of the tunnel tubes and put behind bars in this building that we are visiting.
Bunker Sonnenberg selesai dibangun tahun 1976, memakan ongkos 40 juta US dollar atau setara 600 miliar rupiah. Pembangunan bunker ini sebagai perwujudan undang-undang Swiss yang mewajibkan adanya perlindungan bagi rakyatnya jika perang dingin pecah. Pembangunan rumah baru harus membuat bunker bawah tanah, sedangkan dalam skala besar ya pembangunan bunker Sonnenberg. Syukurlah perang dingin tidak menjadi perang beneran. Bom nuklir tidak pernah dijatuhkan di Eropa. Swiss juga masih aman-aman saja hingga kini. Jika saja perang itu terjadi, apakah 20.000 orang yang masuk ke bunker Sonnenberg akan selamat? Tampaknya tidak. Bunker ini hanya mampu bertahan 2 minggu. Pintu betonnya juga diragukan kemampuannya menahan masuknya radiasi.